Hello, loyal viewers of Wild Elf 26. As you can tell, I'm somewhat of a Transformers fan, especially Gen 1, and anything that is respectful or retelling of Gen 1. So, you guys, if you want the true skinny, the proper Transformers journey, and there's a lot of stuff out there and it can be distracting. Right now, Captain Frugal, he's doing some reviews on current Transformer comics, which are an interesting thing into their own self, considering how many years they are after Gen 1. So no telling how they've finagled the story or if it even remotely makes any sense to the original origins. But if you guys are fans of animated series Transformers, and remember, they did have a CGI animated series, The Beast Wars, which was way off topic, but there was a Gen 1 crossover where Optimus Primal had to save the original Optimus Prime, who had been attacked while he was in suspended animation in the captain's seat of that gigantic spaceship the Autobots call the Ark. And but yeah, put that Bayformers wackadoo out of your mind. And even the Bumblebee movie, which was supposed to be straying away from the Bayverse, they did get their Prime looking a lot more correct to Gen 1 Prime. And I'll give that to them. That was good. And the innovation of having Bumblebee be briefly a Jeep before they put him as the iconic Volkswagen Beetle that he's supposed to be all the time. He's supposed to be a small car. He's a very small Autobot. He's not supposed to be able to look Prime eye to eye. He's supposed to come up to almost Prime's bumper or his hip when he's fully robot sized. So the Bayformer ones made him way too big. I don't know what kind of wacky tobacco Bay must have been smoking back in the 1980s, but he got Bumblebee totally wrong. Bumblebee's face is supposed to look like this. Yeah, it's supposed to look like this. And his feet are supposed to be the front bumpers and headlights of whatever car he's supposed to be. Basically, if he can't be a Volkswagen Beetle, he should be something like a Mini Cooper or perhaps a Fiat 500. Yeah, yellow Fiat 500 would make an excellent Bumblebee. Even if they were dealing with exclusives with General Motors, they could have found a car, maybe that Chevy Spark or something. But no, they gave the Chevy Spark to a different Autobot, and they had it transform kind of weird. But the Chevy Spark would have been the right kind of configuration, and it would have produced the right size Bumblebee. Any of you OG fans out there know what I'm talking about. But yeah, it's not so much that people were coming down on the Bayverse. It's just that the Bayverse was deliberately so inaccurate. Michael Bay himself didn't even want Optimus Prime to be red. He was trying to get rid of red, but the company insisted on red. So he mixed it with a flame job that had a bunch of blue flames, and it really obstructed the look of Optimus Prime. This is Gen 1 Prime. That's what he's supposed to look like, folks. I guess a comparison to a human would be if a human was wearing a long sleeve red t-shirt and blue jeans. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's very strange, the choices of Michael Bay regarding this. And but I will give credit to the Bumblebee movie, but even then I have to take credit away because they wouldn't keep him a Bumblebee Beetle. Toward the end of the movie, spoiler alert, he scans another vehicle. That frickin' Camaro, that 70s Camaro, 70s and the 80s Camaro, and then they had the girl that was his compatriot throughout the whole movie, suddenly, what the term today that the younger folks would use, totally diss the Volkswagen, saying, "What? You could have been a Camaro this entire time?" And that was added, and it's Bay Productions, Bay executive producer. He had more strings pulling in that movie than people realize. They think because they put a puppet director in place in it. Suddenly it wasn't a Michael Bay-verse movie. No, it was a Bay-verse movie pretending not to be a Bay-verse movie. But even then, they couldn't help themselves at those certain points. And I don't care about any of the garbage that they're going to say about, oh, well, that last scene was done as a tribute to Bay. No, because look at Rise of the Beast. What is he in Rise of the Beast? A frickin' Camaro. So yeah, go sell that down the road to the born yesterday dummies. We know it's still Bayverse. He's trying to save face. They lost a crap load of money on Transformers: The Last Night, which is a movie that they should never have made. They should have made a sequel to Age of Extinction, but not The Last Night. That's the problem when you have people controlling a franchise that have no actual true love for the franchise or any idea of the direction of that franchise. Right now, a lot of very established franchises are going through all kinds of crap. And it's not just like politics of woke and other stuff, which did strongly factor into the ruination of a few franchises, but just personal decisions about the executive producers and directors involved have ruined a lot of stuff. Paramount's going to reset Star Trek. They've had this couple different bad parties that have been almost deliberately steering the franchise into the dirt. They had some lucrative, weird contracts, and they used their executive power to stretch and twist and derange Star Trek way beyond what it ever was supposed to be. And then they got credible Trek people involved in the production of it, and especially in the Picard series that came out. And to their credit, Jonathan Frakes, Patrick Stewart, and many of the other supporting casts, LeVar Burton, Gates McFadden, and of course Brett Spiner, they gave their best based on the material that was basically handed or forced upon them. And then when they did press, they had to be very positive about it. I don't know if we'll ever get a true telling of what they really thought about that after they finished it and viewed the entire thing. For a few of those actors that actually do review their own projects, actually look at their full finished projects. Some people don't like to watch their own TV shows or movie, which I find kind of strange. I'm not a perfectionist, but I'd like to see that it came out right or came out somewhat agreeable, whether it be a TV show or a movie. At least Patrick Stewart, I know for certain because he's mentioned this, he does like to look at his previous shows, previous movies. He likes to know whether he gave his best performance. He likes to know whether or not the editing was handled right when he was giving his best performance. And I totally agree with that. The ones that don't want to look at themselves, I don't know, maybe they just picked too many, what's that phrase they use today? Maybe they picked too many cringe products to do, and of course their performance looks all cringy because of the material. But that's how it goes, I guess. But yeah, if you want the true Gen 1 Transformers, the storyline that really makes it what it was, that all these other people later have been profiting off of like a cash cow and twisting it in their own little ways. No, heck with that. Go back to Gen 1, actual animated Gen 1, Gen 1 inspired movie. And you need to start it off, and hopefully you're partially an anime fan too. You need to find this DVD. That's right, this DVD. And Captain Frugal, if you're watching, I hope you find this DVD too. This is what it looks like on the spine. And it's basically a few of the origin episodes and a couple extra episodes in there. And that's what it looks like on the back. Find this DVD and get your Transformer journey started properly. And then you can appreciate the full series and the full animated movie. And then later you can revisit these live or action ones and CGI ones and make a true decision based on the actual canon content. And then you can draw your own conclusions afterwards. But you have to see the canon original. I don't understand this trend of people bashing original shows, or in the case of video games, I'm a huge Resident Evil fan, but these remakes came out and they were kind of lackluster as far as the storytelling, and a lot of the voice dialogue was just simply pointless or terrible. And in some cases, some scenes actually ruined the strength of some of the Resident Evil characters. And so some people prefer the original Resident Evil trilogies from the 90s. I enjoy the Resident Evil trilogy in the 90s. I enjoy the Nintendo Wii Resident Evil Dark Side Chronicles, which I think is a respectful remake of Resident Evil 2 and Code Veronica to a limited degree. And I even respect that remake of Resident Evil 3, only because it was not supposed to be Resident Evil 3 originally. It was supposed to be a spin-off project called Last Escape. But the, what was it, the British version of Capcom went and labeled it Resident Evil 3, while Capcom was actually working on what they were going to have as Resident Evil 3, and then they had to scrap it because Britain had already labeled that game Resident Evil 3. So it was a very convoluted thing. I believe Code Veronica was actually going to be an official Resident Evil 3, but got renamed, labeled, as it were. All right, guys, I'm sure I've been ranting and raving here, and I didn't mean to, but this is just like an anime moment, or animation moment, or a movie moment, all kind of wrapped into one. This is a Transformers moment for people to truly appreciate Gen 1. Get immersed in the Gen 1 story, at least for the first 3 seasons, and then revisit all these other ones, even a couple movies you've seen again, but do it freshly after immersing yourself in Gen 1 to truly get the appreciation. Now sometimes, and this is unfortunate, sometimes people have not seen the older material, and they've been so blown away by some sequel, some off-kilter addition to the series or franchise way later, that it has ruined their ability to actually focus and appreciate on the original material. All right, guys, you have a great one. This is Wild Elf 26, and have a great day, and may the Triforce bless you all. And Autobots, transform and roll out. Do 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 do. Do 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 do.